Hello, this is Kymmell. This is the report for week 2 of AEL cohort 4 for the Architectural History course, CMGT 275. Well, the redesign is beginning to take shape. The model that we saw this week that is probably the most exciting or closely related to where I'd like to go is what McGraw-Hill showed us at the Publishers Luncheon. I thought the connectedness between the various modules and the variety and the flexibility that students have to access material was ideal. And I kind of see us for the history class providing lectures that are online and references to all sorts of resources that would help them understand the concepts and the examples used in the lectures. I also really enjoy the collaborative tools that we have taken a look at so far. I see possibilities for students to use those tools to have live discussions about specific questions that I would pose and to complete homework projects together. I still envision, and Mike has been trying to work with the GPS component of it, in other words, knowing where we are with smartphones or iPads or something like that, because I'd still really like to have students be able to use in a unit like that to have access to all sorts of resources when they are in the right location, to be able to use those resources to understand where they are. In other words, if they're in front of a building, they would be able to call up the history of that building and perhaps some floor plans or other drawings that would be able to show them how we could analyze the building from an architectural standpoint, and have a number of resources that would relate to the sustainability ideas that had been used in that particular project. So site visits, while they would be able to collaborate and have access to all sorts of advanced resources, is an important component. DIGO was very exciting, and I can see them having access to a number of resources through that tool. What I'm most concerned about is how much work is going to be required to generate all that content for a class like this. But that's also obviously what I'm most excited about, because once the content begins to build, it would be an amazing tool to be able to investigate connections between different components and have a much better understanding of the concepts that are so critical. Accessibility is a big issue, particularly because it requires a transcript. And rather than going back and transcribing what I come up with as I lecture, it seems like it would make more sense to read from a transcript, but to have a reading come across as more natural and more lecture-like is also a huge challenge. So I'm not quite sure how to handle that yet, and we'll probably just have to practice and see how it goes. In any case, I'm looking forward to next week. It's hard to believe that it's only 1 week that is left for us to spend time all together doing this. Again, I think this week the highlight was the time we spent discussing specific topics together, and it seemed almost accidental, the ideas that come up during those conversations, but that it's so rich to all share ideas about topics that are relevant for all of us. So thank you again, and look forward to next week. Goodbye.